Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of TheFadShow, where I'm going to show you how to refurbish your BBS wheels and change them from looking like this to this. Stay tuned. Alright, so as I said, for separating them, they're actually 20-point torques. So I'm just going to use my drill impact and see if that's enough to get these out. If not, I'll have to switch to my bigger impact. But I did spray them all with penetrant before I cleaned them, so hopefully that loosened them up before I washed it all away. But, maybe this is the wrong size rear pack. So as I expected, the drill impact didn't have enough gusto, so I got my bigger tire impact that I'm going to use. And then I'm going to keep all the hardware for each one separate. I'm not really sure why they should all be the same, but just in case. Alright, so it's probably just going to be very time consuming getting these all out, but let's go for it. So as always with working on cars and this show, there's kind of a miserable failure. These bolts are just so corroded that it's just taking all the threads with them or snapping the bolts. So in the interest of not completely destroying these wheels, I think I'm going to try and polish and paint them with the center caps on. I guess if you really took your time and spray penetrant in them, and then put some heat and just slowly work all the bolts out and then redid the threads, you could probably do this, but I think it's just not worth the time for this particular car. It's not a show car. It's not going to fucking Pebble Beach. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna do it with the wheels on. So with that, I guess I'll tape up the actual spokes of the wheels so I can sand the outside and not damage them, even though I'm going to sand them too, but just with a lower grit. So that's the next plan. Tape up the spokes, and then I'm going to polish the outside, or sand the outside. I'm going to start with the 120. I got a 120 flap wheel for my drill, which I'm going to start with, and then I'll go to the 220, 400, and then I'll go all the way up to 3200. 3200 wheel wet sand, and then I'll polish it after, and then I'll tape that off and then spray the center caps, and then I'll clear coat everything at once, which that will probably make this will actually make it easier. I have one bolt that was snapped, so the stud's still in there, so I might just JB weld it so it looks the same, but obviously wouldn't have any structure to it, but I think missing one will be fine. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. At least the two bolts that snapped are completely 180 degrees away from each other. So the wheel will stay balanced. Still think I'll probably like try and JB weld those caps on there. Obviously it won't be structural, but it'll at least look the same. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me wants to do this right and drill these out and rethread all these and get new bolts, but I think for now I'm just gonna polish it and save that for down the road, I guess, if I really decide that I want to. But anyways, I went ahead and taped off all the spokes so I can sand the outside and not worry about getting those, even though I am gonna paint them. I just don't wanna get them with the high grit. So I got this flap wheel, my drill, which I'm just gonna use. Hey guys, and welcome to day 2 of another TheFadShow How Not To video. So I think, as you can see yesterday in the time lapse, I started using my Dremel tool with like a small little wire wheel on it, which I was originally just using to get right in the kind of right between the center cap and the edge of the wheel, just because it was hard to get the sandpaper in there. It ended up working so good that I got some bigger ones, as well as I've ordered more Dremel ones on Amazon for 1-day shipping, because they didn't have any at Northern Tool when I went this morning, but it was working way more, or a lot faster. So I'm gonna try and use this wire wheel on here. Just keep in mind that this is actually steel wire wheel and aluminum, so it's actually gonna be removing a little bit of metal, but essentially that's what the sandpaper is doing anyways. The sandpaper is working, and it's just gonna take 3 years, I think, by me myself doing this. So I'm gonna try this out to get some of the like major stuff off, and then when I get the smaller wire wheel, I'll be able to get in the crevice. And then once I get all the corrosion off, then I can start smoothing the surfaces with the sandpaper from 200 all the way up to 3200, and then wet sanding and polishing. And then hopefully that'll be it for the aluminum. And then after inspecting these wheels, I'm definitely gonna have to paint the center caps, so look at doing that at a later date. I was looking into more ways that you could fix these bolts, and it probably is doable. I'm gonna see how the results come out first, doing it this way, and I might do that at a later date. But there are ways to repair the threads if you do damage the aluminum threads when you take these bolts out. And then obviously I could get new bolts if I snap anymore and drill out the ones that are broken. But for $3,200 car, I think I'm just gonna do it this way and see how it looks. So with that, let's get to it. So here's what it looks like after I did the low grit sandpaper in the wire wheel. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I tested out how deep I would have to go with the wire wheel to get it actually all the way down to bare metal, and it was pretty deep. So that's why I think I'm just gonna leave this slight discoloration in here, and hopefully once it's polished it won't be as noticeable. As well as it's hard to get in the groove here with the sandpaper, so that's probably a huge advantage of removing the center caps. But you can only use the edge of the sandpaper, so I'm just gonna pay attention every time I have a fresh edge to keep going on that as I go along. And then also when I get the new wire wheels in, I might come back seeing how it's looking. Also, I thought the other thing I could do is when I painted, I could cheat and just mask like right up to the edge here and actually paint over that. I don't know how noticeable it would be, but since I'm half-assing everything on this, then probably wouldn't be out of the norm. But anyways, so I just finished the 320 grit on this wheel. I think I'm gonna go all the way through this wheel just to see how the process works before I do the other 4. It's looking pretty good though, much better than it was at least. I found that just some hot, soapy water worked the best to blast out all that corrosion, and then you just wipe it off and keep going because it's hard to see where you've gone and it starts all smudging around. But I just did the low grit, so I think I'm gonna step up to 600 now, dry sand, then 1500 dry sand, and then I'll do a 3200 wet sand, and then polish. And hopefully, I mean, it's definitely gonna be an improvement, probably not perfect, but for this car, I think it'll work. I'm happy with how it's coming along so far. It's a pretty tedious job though, so make sure you allot a lot of time when you go ahead and do this yourself. Thanks for watching. So here's how they look after 2 passes with 600 grit. Starting to get a little bit of a shine to them. Next I'm gonna step it up to 1500 and just do the same thing, 2 coats around, and then Alright, so now that I've finished my polishing with, or sanding with the, or wet sand with the 2000 grit, 3200 grit sandpaper, now I'm going to move on to polishing. So I have some Mothers, magnesium, and aluminum polish. I'm just going to use a regular wax applicator to get it on here, and then I have the Mother's Powerball I'm going to use to actually do the polishing. So I've never really done this before, so I'm not sure if there's a exact science to it, but I'm just gonna spread this around using this because it'll probably make less of a mess than if I try to put it on the Powerball itself. Alright, so I've masked off 2 of the wheels in preparation for scuffing up the existing paint on the inside part of the rim and then painting the inside part of the rim. So I have 2 more to go. It's pretty tedious. Applying this tape to a circular surface, but it has to be done. This whole project is taking forever. Just the act of masking the wheels was pretty involved, but I taped the inside of the rim, used the glove finger on here. I bought these little kid stickers and gave my wheels some gold stars, even though they're smiley faces, but that's alright. So yeah, I taped out the bolt, or I used the stickers on the bolt holes, I taped off the polished aluminum, and then I used the note parts around the outside and the finger around the wheel. I used old center caps from another set of wheels to protect there. So now I'm gonna spray it with waxing grease remover, and then I'm gonna start painting my primer. So here's what they look like after 4 coats of primer. I did 4 really light coats so I don't repeat my BMW wheels and get runs. Granted, I didn't in the primer, but they look pretty good. This primer does a good job of filling in all the imperfections. So my plan is I'll let this dry real hard, then I'll sand it with 600 grit, and then I'll do the silver color that I have. But I think I'm just gonna let these harden overnight and then come back and do that tomorrow. This whole process is taking forever. Hopefully they come out all right. But they look pretty good. Guess we'll see. All right, thank you for watching. Here's what they look like after being painted and with the masking removed. So they came out pretty good. This color is a little different than the stock BBS color. It's a little darker, but I actually kind of like it. It gives a little bit more contrast between the polished aluminum and then the centerpiece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean the aluminum with some alcohol, get the adhesive from the tape off, then I'm going to clear it. And for that I'm just going to clear everything, so hopefully they don't rust. So here's what the wheels look like all done. I'll let the clear coat dry overnight. And then this morning I just used some Meguiar's Ultimate Polish and used a microfiber rag. Just polished the clear coat a little bit, but I think they look really good. I mean, they're definitely a vast improvement from where I started. A lot of the corrosion's gone. This color match for the center caps isn't that good. It's much darker now. This one has a much heavier metal flake in it, but actually I kind of like it. It gives it a contrast between the polished aluminum on the outside and the darker, almost gunmetal in the center caps. I'm really happy with how they came out. So let's get them on the car and see how they look. Alright guys, so the wheels are back on the car and I think they look absolutely amazing. When I first put them on the car up in the air, I was a little iffy on them because I'm not a huge fan of body colored wheels, and I think that the center caps look a little too close to the actual color of the car. But once I got the car down on the ground and I cleaned up the wheels a little bit with some tire shine, I really like the looks of them. I think it just makes it look super sleek. They're much better than they were. They're not perfect. The wheels are pretty corroded, but I think I improved them greatly. And for a car that was only $3,000, I'm not too concerned about it. I was actually looking up the price of refurbished or like new original OEM ones of these, and they're like $500 a piece. So it's crazy to me that the car's worth $3,000, but the wheels themselves, granted these ones are in horrible condition, so they wouldn't get $500 for them, but it's just amazing that the wheels are worth as much as the car is now. But anyways, I think the car looks amazing. I'm happy with how they came out. It was a lot of work, but you know, I enjoy spending time in the garage. So anyways, if you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure you like and subscribe so you can catch the next video of me working on my SaaB 95 Aero Wagon. Thank you guys and have a good day.